G'day everyone, welcome back. Constantine Quarantine News. It is Friday afternoon here in Melbourne, Australia, Friday the 20th of March 2020. Many of us are in self-isolation, many of us are in lockdown, many of us are in quarantine. I'm here to talk about some of the news of the day, some things we've seen out and about, and some of the things that we've been sent by various friends. Let's start with the financial review show. Before we do start, we've got this lovely chat box there. There we are, there's the chat box. If you'd like to chat, feel free to chat. If you'd like to call, please call. I'm answering your calls right now. So for those of you that have my number, call, and we can chat on air. Otherwise, feel free if you don't want to chat on air. Anyway, let's go to our first bit of news. The financial review, there's some good news coming through, there's some bad news coming through. Basically, business recovers its purpose amid the crisis is the headline that the Fin's running at the moment. But most importantly, the biggest news of the day right now is that banks defer small business loan payments for 6 months. This is extraordinary news. The Australian Banking Association Grant Farrelly, welcome Grant, thanks for your chat, here we go. The Australian Banking Association has taken the lead and encouraged all banks who have been armed with the $100 billion of loans as enabled by the federal government to defer small business loan repayments for up to 6 months, freeing up $8 billion to support borrowers through the coronavirus crisis. Banks are also open to considering cases of mortgage hardship if they appear. Now, yesterday I mentioned that we were talking about how this might work. One of the arguments that I made was that if it is about, and by the way, it is knockoff drinks, Friday afternoon. I'm drinking a Tablique Old Vines Cab Shiraz, a 10-year-old Tablique Old Vines Cab Shiraz. And I think in this context, we'd probably say, if it's too bleak, drink Tablique. As you can tell, they're not a client and I'm not a copywriter. Let's go back to it. Cheers. The financial review is saying that obviously by enabling these loan holidays, as you might call them, or lending holidays, it will reduce pressure on small businesses. The big criticism that I have in that is that although that's fantastic, many small businesses don't have loans. Small business lending is generally done through the director's mortgage or through credit cards. And what we understand is approximately 40%, from what we understand, 40 to 41% of small businesses actually borrow money via the director's mortgages or credit cards because they don't have the ability to lend from or borrow from a bank, and banks just don't want to lend to them. What's interesting about this, and this is the most interesting thing, is that we now see that NAB and Westpac have extended their loan holidays to homeowners. This is extraordinarily great news for Australia. So what it's saying is that NAB and Westpac will waive mortgage or provide holidays, and again, I don't know the exact details, but will provide lending mortgage repayment pauses to people who have suffered any type of hardship or loss of income as a result of COVID. Extraordinarily great initiative from the banks as enabled by the government. This is great leadership from the banks. This is great leadership from the government. And this not only helps people as mortgagees, but it helps people as small businesses. Again, I can't tell you how important it is in terms of looking at the way in which small businesses are funded, that small businesses are funded, at least 40% are funded via the director's mortgage. So the idea that the mortgage is being redrawn and pumped into their business, now we're faced with a situation where it may provide a lifeline to many businesses that are suffering. So there is some really good news coming through there, and that's really promising to everyone. The Fin's also running with this news about the federal government's injection to wholesale funding markets aiding fintech. And this is equally extremely important. Basically, the idea that there are a lot of really amazing, innovative startups out there, of which I'm obviously very passionate and public about. The idea that they will be supported through this is really great news, because not only are they a huge source of jobs and everything else, they're a huge source of innovation. And without these large number of small fintechs, startups and everything else providing innovation, we are in for let's call it a less than a V-shaped recovery. The Australian, again, running with this idea of banks offering $8 billion to small businesses as a lifeline, extraordinarily good news. And Anna Bligh, the head of the Australian Banking Association, they are a client, FYI, just for the sake of full transparency. Anna has said that banks will make sure this deferral is available to any small business in critical need because of COVID-19. Australia's banks have supported the country through difficult times in the past and continue to do so. This is the key. Why do people complain about, why do banks make so much money? They make so much money and they have such a great asset base because in times like this, they can actually step up as liquid banks rather than them also needing to be standing in a line with their hand out, waiting for government or waiting for us as taxpayers to do something about them. So some great news coming out of Australia there. The other thing that's happening is that Solomon Lew has taken great leadership there in the retail space, and he's basically saying that landlords need to come to the party with things like rent holidays, and understanding that. A great quote down the bottom here along the lines of it'll be there somewhere. Landlords have a major role to play to ensure retailers can operate in the short term for the long-term benefit of all stakeholders. And there is also a quote there where he says that historical rents are just that, historical. And it's important that, that landlords come to the party, that every link in the chain works there. One thing that has been extremely disappointing has been seeing how the EU is abandoning Italy in its time of need. And what we're really seeing at the moment is that the EU's just really providing to be a bureaucratic mess like we all think it is. Really not doing anything to support Italy, really not doing anything to support Greece, considering also that Greece has a range of refugee camps there that may become dangerous places where coronavirus could spread very easily in very confined spaces. The EU needs to step up, and the EU needs to do something immediately, because we've seen a particularly inept response, but what do you expect when you have large bureaucracies like the EU? In other extremely sad news, Teague Izard is shutting down two CBD restaurants in Melbourne, Izard and Ginger Boy, shutting on Saturday night. And these are restaurants that have been open for 21 years and nearly 15 years. What we're seeing is across hospitality, this is the thin edge of the wedge. There will be a lot of businesses, and the fear is that this kills a lot more jobs and it kills a lot more businesses than it does people, and that's just as sad a situation when people's livelihoods are lost because of this. What else are we seeing? We're seeing that the Aussie dollar is at 0.59 US cents or 59 US cents. And it's really come down. It's really come down a hell of a lot. And what we often see is that during times of crisis, people want to alleviate risk in the forex markets, and so to alleviate risk, they go to the US dollar. Thankfully, the Fed overnight issued some currency swaps with a range of banks, up to $60 billion US per bank, and that was around Australia, Argentina, Canada, Mexico, and a number of other countries, just to ensure that all of these reserve banks are liquid and they have enough foreign currency on hand without necessarily debasing their own currency. So there's some excellent work that's happening there across the reserve banks. One other thing that's happening right now is a new segment. Of course, this show's only one episode old. A new segment called Celebrity COVID of the Day. And Celebrity COVID of the Day is Prince Albert of Monaco. He has got COVID-19. All the best wishes to you, Prince Albert. It's reported in the Daily Mail. And just as Prince Albert copied the coronavirus from someone else, so the Daily Mail most likely copied this news story from another news outlet. So excellent plagiarism there, as per usual, by the Daily Mail. Some other great news and some other interesting sites we've seen. This one we're seeing Resident Advisor have just notified us that iOS versions of the Mini Moog Model D and the Korg K-Oscillator can be now downloaded free of charge, which is absolutely outstanding. So if you've got an iPad and you want to make music, they have made those apps free of charge. So cheers to the people at Moog and Korg for making their synthesizers free. And if you've got kids, nothing better than putting them in front of the Moog or the Korg and getting them to smash away with headphones on, obviously, parents. Something else that we've seen that's really, really, really cool, as you can see up here, ASOS's, here we're going to zoom in. We wanted to reach out again to couples who have had to cancel their weddings, honeymoons and celebrations during this period. If you know a couple who are in need of a little pickup, let us know in the comments below and they might just receive a little treat. Sadly, we know of 2 people who have had to cancel weddings in the next couple of weeks or postpone them. Big difference. But ASOS really reaching out and doing some things. And what we're really seeing is, and we saw yesterday with Mecca and today with ASOS, we're seeing some really cool initiatives that are happening from a range of businesses. Another really nice thing that we've seen is a website called howmuchtoiletpaper.com. Howmuchtoiletpaper.com. How much toilet paper? What you basically do is say how many rolls you have and how many toilet visits per day. So I might say at home, I think we've got about 8 rolls at the moment. Maybe fewer than that, and we've probably got, between the 4 of us, we've probably got about 10 toilet visits. So let's go there. We've still got 14 days of toilet paper, which will last 100% of our quarantine. Excellent website, howmuchtoiletpaper.com. As you can see, people are getting really creative and really good with this sort of stuff. So that's basically about it for today. I won't keep you any longer. You're there with your families and friends. Knock off drinks on Friday night, enjoy everyone. And I will leave you with one last great thought of the day from my friend Sam Lally. Sam said that basically that under current guidelines, no one should cough within 2 meters of you. And if they do, then it should be recognized as a near cough. And what's really important is that if someone coughs within 2 meters of them, 2 meters of you, that you tell them to fuck off. Okay, thanks guys, all the best, and stay safe, wash your hands, and stay out of trouble.